RMJ Movie Reviews back again with a surprise movie review of Hard Target from 1993, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Lance Henriksen, directed by John Woo in his first American feature film. This is actually one of the first films that I saw in THX Sound back in 1993. I don't know if they do THX Sound anymore, but I tell you, when that bow and arrow popped out in the beginning of the opening credits of this film, it was the loudest thing I think I've ever heard in my life. This came out, I believe, August of 1993. And I remember we saw it opening weekend. And, you know, one thing about Hard Target is I've always liked Hard Target. Everybody kind of claims this to be one of Van Damme's best. I disagree, although I feel the action in the second and the third act of the movie is just bare to none. You really cannot reach action sequences like that. The first 45-50 minutes of Hard Target has always been, personally for me, very hard to sit through. I found it to be, I mean, I hate to say it, but boring. You know, it's a lot of setup where demented madmen hunt after human beings. We saw this same theme in Avenging Force with Michael Dudikoff, and we saw it in Surviving the Game with Ice-T. And they continue that same idea here. You know, this takes place in the city of New Orleans. There was a lot of things that I caught this second time watching the film as an adult, because it's been many, many years since I had watched this. I never realized is how artistic John Woo actually directed this movie. Not just out of the action sequences, but just in kind of the character things. He really wanted to inject some drama into this as Yancy Butler goes around the city of New Orleans trying to figure out what happened to her father. The New Orleans police force, I think, is on a strike, so they don't really have many police officers working down there, so it's rampant with crime, and that's why Lance Henriksen and Arnold Vosloo, who plays his sidekick Pick, in a very demonic performance. I mean, he's so evil, and so is Lance Henriksen. They're like the ultimate villains, and what I love is how Lance Henriksen can just deliver the slime, and he has like this sinister look in his eyes, but he almost knows, he's almost telling you what he's gonna do to you before he does it, but he almost just likes messing with you, you know, just kind of like, you know, the knife falls off the table and he just kind of just, you know, he's messing with the guy who is actually Marco St. John, who was the sheriff in Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Morning, Ethel! How are you, horse? You know. And Jean-Claude Van Damme, this was a little bit different for him because he was rocking like this mullet that was way years after the mullet was over. I mean, Mel Gibson rocked it one more time in Lethal 3, but this was 1993, going in 94. The mullet was pretty much done. I believe he was a former veteran, and now he's like a kind of he's basically a homeless seaman. And he helps Yancy Butler in trying to find her father because he can infiltrate the homeless population. Also, he has physical combat skills from his time in the service. I had never noticed that the movie really emphasizes the plight of homeless people. That they would participate in this game where if you give them millions of dollars on their belt buckle, they will literally risk their own life to be able to eat or to have money, and that's a really desperate place to be in, man. But I do like in one scene where this one homeless gentleman who you could just feel the desperation in him, not only as he fights for his life, but just the fact that before he makes the decision to participate in this game, he knows internally that it's wrong, but he does it anyway. That's how desperate he is. It's really heavy, man. It's really heavy, and I didn't notice that before. But once we kind of get past all the dramatic stuff, then we get into the Wooisms, you know, which is all the Belayic action that he has. And the one thing about John Woo is he does not, it's almost like operatic in a dance, you know, and he really incorporates a lot of his Hong Kong style with the two guns. And then he incorporates Jean-Claude Van Damme's signature spin kicks that Jean-Claude did in all his movies at that time. You know, the windmill kick where, you know, Van Damme does it in slow motion. And Jean-Claude does really good with mixing the gunplay with his karate kicks, you know, so it's really fun to watch. And the stunts, again, I mean, they really did this stuff. I mean, you know, dudes are getting really kicked in the face, and it's absolutely crazy, man, how nuts the action gets. And I will say that my favorite part of this entire movie is finally when it gets to the actual finale that takes place in a like a factory, like a I don't know, where they build objects to put in the parade. And it's a really cool action sequence in the warehouse where we see the signature shot of the arrow going past Jean-Claude's face, and he kind of does like that. It's really cool action. Van Damme and Lance Henriksen get a really good one-on-one fight that I think is really good, and visually is very appealing. You know, it's got the sweat and the fire, and John Woo really mixes in a lot of just making just mayhem look artistic, which is weird. It's a skill he's always had. He can make mayhem look like a painting, or meticulous the way he directs action scenes and the level of thought and creativity he puts into it. You know, using different parts of the environment along with the weaponry. So I thought that was really cool. And using the environment to help you against the villain, which I think is very cool about Hard Target. You know, with some of the some of the early 90s kind of rock music with, you know, Jean-Claude standing by the seat doing the ropes, and he's kind of, you know, it's kind of cheesy, you know, but I will say the action is just so hardcore and so raw and in your face and so dangerous looking that it kind of makes it more than makes up for that first slow hour. And also, this is a pretty sadistic movie. I think this had to go back to the ratings board, I think 4 or 5 times, so it didn't get an X rating. This is a hyper-violent movie. It's very, very hyper-violent. The entire movie of Hard Target could have been a little bit better as a whole, but I think the action in the second half and the third act save, which I think was kind of a, I'm sorry y'all, that first hour is just so boring to me. It just always has, man. You know, and I felt that way seeing as a kid. I was like, when is the action gonna start? And then, you know, it finally starts. But so thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and leave comments down below about Hard Target. Don't forget to hit the little bell, and head on over to my Facebook page, which is in the process of being created. RMJ Movie Reviews, Facebook.com. So anyway, if you don't like movies with Jean-Claude Van Damme and his spin kicks, why don't you watch The Bridges of Madison County? RMJ Movie Reviews. I will see you soon.